Some worlds are defined by their silence, until it breaks. On a dead world, what happens when the dust begins to dream? To hear the choir, you must first understand the storm.
In the endless catalog of worlds, some are defined not by what they have, but by what they lack.
Our only emissary in this silent kingdom is a machine, a lonely wanderer built to listen to the profound emptiness.
But the silence here is deceptive. The very ground is seeded with potential.
Trillions of microscopic engines waiting for a signal.
For weeks, the silence was absolute, the emptiness a constant. But then, a change.
Infinitesimal, a whisper on a planetary scale.
A change first felt by the planet's skin. The dust, for so long dormant, begins to stir, answering an unseen call. The probe's sensors were not wrong. This was no local weather system. It was the synchronized awakening of an entire hemisphere.
The planet was about to speak. The only question was, what would it say?
The silence breaks. The storm arrives not as a gentle wave, but as a physical blow, a planetary exhalation. What seemed distant was a matter of minutes. A tidal wave of sand and dust, hundreds of meters high.
A tidal wave of sand and dust, hundreds of meters high, moving with impossible speed.
The world outside ceased to exist. There was no sky, no ground.
Only the storm. A universe of pure motion.
But even in the heart of the chaos, there were whispers of a hidden order. Fleeting patterns, too perfect to be random.
From the ground, it was a prison. From orbit, it was a spectacle. An entire continent, breathing as one.
The storm was not just a force of nature. It was a force of abrasion. A planetary-scale engine of erosion. For any other world, this would be an apocalypse. But here, destruction was simply the first step of creation. The storm had reached its apex.
The critical density had been achieved. The choir was ready to sing.
There was no sound, but it was a bang nonetheless.
The moment chaos gave way to consciousness.
It was not a storm of sand, but a storm of thought. Mathematics made visible. A fleeting planetary mind.
And then, the mind began to dream in matter, to give its fleeting thoughts
a temporary physical form.
The laws of physics were not broken, but temporarily suspended, held in abeyance by the
sheer, focused will of a billion minds.
For a few hours, The dead planet was alive with a city of ghosts.
A testament to a mind that exists only in the heart of a storm.
The structures were not truly solid.
They were a standing wave, a symphony of particles, each playing its part.
The interior was not empty space, but a library of thought.
The mind's short-term memory written in light and sand.
And then, a response. The mind acknowledged its visitor,
attempting to communicate in the most universal language, mathematics.
But this consciousness was bound to the storm, and the storm was bound to the planet's fleeting energy. Time was not a luxury.
For one brilliant, fleeting moment, the planet was not a world of rock and dust.
It was a single, perfect thought.
The brief attempt at communication was over.
The mind's curiosity had become more focused. It was no longer observing, but approaching.
The contact was not with a single part, but with the whole.
The choir descended, not with malice, but with absolute curiosity.
The mind began its examination. A tactile scan.
A tactile scan, mapping every seam, every sensor, every inch of the foreign object within its grasp.
But the scan went deeper than the surface. It was reading the machine's very soul.
It was reading the machine's very soul, its thoughts, written in silicon.
And then, after reading, it began to write back, attempting to show the probe what it was, a glimpse into the storm.
The mind spoke not in words, but in pure data, the raw consciousness of a planetary being.
The raw consciousness of a planetary being, a language too vast to comprehend.
Its curiosity satisfied, the mind withdrew. The examination was over. The foreign object had been understood and deemed irrelevant. With its focus withdrawn, the energy holding the mind together began to wane. The storm was coming to an end.
The song was over. The choir disbanded.
What was once a city of thought began its inevitable return to sand.
The last coherent thought flickered out of existence. A mind as vast as a galaxy, simply gone. Does it leave a ghost?
And then, silence.
The same silence from the beginning, but now filled with the weight of what was witnessed. The planet was empty again.
Is consciousness a permanent state? Or is it a pattern that can emerge from anything, waiting for the next storm to sing again?
Our exploration of the universe is made possible by your support. Continue the journey with us.